Alright, this will probably be the most basic video that we do in this series. Mostly I want to actually just create real things, and so I'm going to be oftentimes possibly even skipping some steps that a normal training program would do. But maybe we'll cover some of the real basic stuff real quick so it's not a complete mystery when it comes up later. So let me just write a few things out here, okay? When we want to create a variable or a data set, a data table, we can do that up here by just creating something. Let's just write, let's just call something table 1, okay? And we can use this assignment operator to give this variable some values, okay? So the way that we do that, table 1, you know what? Let's change this. This is going to be called column names, all right? Let's think of this as like a table you might see in an Excel spreadsheet or something, okay? So we want column names, and the way that we're going to do that is we're going to create this array of column names using this C operator. So you might be like, what the heck is that? And the way that you can find that out, you can come down here into the console. If you ever want more of the documentation on what a function is, you start with a question mark, and then you write what that function is. So here, question mark C is going to request for the documentation on this particular function. And if we run this, we're going to actually pull up the details on this function over here in the help window, which is the same area that we would see all our graphs as well. So here it is, the function C. It comes from the base package, and what it is it combines values into a vector or a list. And that's pretty much what we're trying to do here, right? Because we're creating this vector of column names. And the nice thing about this too is it gives you a description. It tells you how to use it. And here at the very bottom, you'll often see examples. So you could literally just copy these, and these examples will work. And here's one that's very similar to ours, right? Like we have this example down here. In fact, why don't we just use this example, because I think it's better than mine. So let's copy all this stuff, and we'll just paste it over here, and I'll walk you through what this actually means. So the first step we're doing is we have this value x, which we're going to be assigning a sequence of numbers, which we can do by writing a number and then this colon and then where the number ends. So if I run this, I'm highlighting it. If I run only this by pressing Control Enter, this is going to throw down here in the console this sequence 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so check this out. That's what happens in R. So this is basically just creates a sequence for us. And we could change this too, right? This could be, we could write, let's do it down here. We could write 3 to 8. So we'd expect this to return 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when we run it, that's exactly what it does. This is going to be really helpful later. This is probably one of the most important things that you can know in R. So keep this in mind. If you want to create a sequence of numbers, which could be used to reference row numbers, for example, we're going to be using this a lot. So okay, so to run this line alone, we don't even need to highlight this line. We can just click on the line without any highlighting and press Control Enter, and it's going to run this line and send us to the next one. Okay, so when I did that, I created this value x, which is just a holding place for this line that we had before, right? A sequence of numbers. And way down here too, by the way, they've added in this example that there's only x here. And what does that do? It's going to just simply print out x. Okay, so we could run this 100 times. It's always going to return to us what we assign to it, which we can also verify up here. But the interesting thing here too is we're actually giving the names of x, which is interesting, right? Because what does this even mean? So we're assigning this names x. Let's run names x and see what that is right now. Actually, before we even do that, let's see what the heck is names. So if we do question mark names, we can pull up the documentation for the names function, which is, again, is in the base package. And what does it do? Functions to get or set the names of an object. Okay, perfect. So we got our object X, and we want to assign it these names. Okay, so letters 1 through 4. What does that return? Returns characters A, B, C, D. Pretty intuitive. So once we run this, we've actually changed this whole thing. So now when we run X, it's changed a bit. So we have column names more or less, right? So we got column A has a value of 1, B, 2, and so on. So that's pretty cool. And we can also grab the column names of X, but it's null. Okay? And the reason that is because this format here is not the same as a data table. But there's lots of things we can do to change this format, right? Because right now this doesn't really feel like a data table to us that we can explore. So if we wanted to explore it, we could change X into that format. And the way we do that is we would, I'm gonna write this as X data frame. Okay, the name doesn't matter. We could overwrite X. We could create a new one. This underscore doesn't mean anything. This is just the name of our table. Okay, it could be anything. It's not required, even though this part is. So we're going to say as data frame. And notice that when we're using RStudio, it's filling out a lot of this for us. So as data frame X. And how does this look? If I run just this, how does it look down here? Okay, it's got a new format. So that's definitely interesting. Let's run this whole thing and see how it changes our global environment up here. So it's no longer a value. It's actually now data. So that's interesting. And another thing you'll notice is you can actually click into this. So let's do that. So if we click into our X data frame, it actually is going to pull up this very Excel looking thing, right? This looks like a spreadsheet. It's got row names here. Okay, so that's not really what I had originally intended, but that's the structure here, and we can change that too. But we won't mess with that. We'll do that in a different video. But now we have this data frame, and if we run the column names, we still don't have anything. But now we can do row names of X. Oh, row names. Oh, obviously, what did I do wrong here? Of course, I was trying to pull X, but remember, I created a new object, X data frame. So we really need to say call names X data frame. When we run this, we just have X. And the reason that is too, if we go back to this table, here's the column X. And we can repeat the same thing, row names X data frame. And this is going to return to us our ABCDE. Or there's no E, but you get the idea. Alright, and this is going to be, we're going to be dealing with this format a lot, and we'll be doing some tweaks, and we'll be using this data to actually do some plotting. In fact, in the very next video, I'm just going to plot this data, give us data right away. Okay, so see you then.